Yeah, good stuff. So, welcome, Dan Lawson, vastly experienced ultra runner. He's competed for GB. He's an active charity worker. He's done the 24-hour European and World Champs. He's got the FKT on the Jordan Trail. He's done Badwater, Last Man Standing, Spartathlon. I could sit here all day and reel off all the things you've done. It's amazing. But the thing we want to talk about today is your latest achievement, Dan, and that is LEJOG. You've got the world record for LEJOG, the first man to go under 10 days. I should explain what LEJOG is. It is the challenge that has been set from Land's End in England to John O'Groats in Scotland, and you did that continuously. And on the 6th of August, you broke the record in 9 days, 21 hours and 14 minutes. I mean, wow, that is incredible. Like, just to put that in perspective, how does that compare with everything that you've ever done? Is that the biggest achievement that you've ever done?
Yeah, I think it's probably the toughest thing I've ever done. Yeah, definitely. But they're all achievements all the way along the way. Like the first time I ran 10K was an achievement, you know, it just, I don't know, just progressed, don't you? So, but it was definitely, it was definitely the hardest thing I've done. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think you can probably prepare for something like that, can you? I know you tried to do it before, didn't you? You have had an attempt before, and this was a reattempt, a successful reattempt. I mean, you'll have learned a lot of lessons from that first attempt, but in terms of preparation, like, where do you start?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think you start, you know, somewhere, I don't know, and I mean, I'm like 47 now, like 25 years ago or something, I suppose you start. I mean, that sort of kind of journey it's long. It's like lots of miles every day, and I think it's hard to train for something like that in a 6-month block. I think it's just an accumulation of I don't know, everything you've done in the last sort of 10 years or something like that. So and just having a mindset of like really wanting to do it as well, because you know it's like physically after, you know, like after a day or two, it's you know, it's not physical. It's all about your mentality or how much you want it, I suppose. So, yeah, I think it comes down to that, like how much you really want to finish it.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been an important thing for you. You know, it's been on your radar, obviously, for a while, I would imagine, if this is the second attempt. Is it something you've always wanted to do, or, you know, how long was this in the planning?
Yeah, it has always been something I've wanted to do. That, strangely enough, I have this idea that if you're an ultra runner, then you should just attempt running whichever country you live in, from like top to bottom or bottom to top. I think it just makes sense, you know. Like, it would be weird for like someone other than from Britain to hold that record, as it would in like the American, like the Trans America record. It'd be weird to have an ultra runner who wasn't from America. So yeah, it's always been something I've like wanted to do, and the fact that I failed that first time, I think like lit my fire a bit, I suppose, and like just gave me that more of that mental strength of that kind of, look, I really want to do this time. So when things got a little bit tough in places, I had enough mental strength just to get myself through it. So I think that failure helped. Failure helps in everything, doesn't it, in life? It's important, you know?
It certainly does. Yeah, it certainly does. And I suppose as well, because I'd read that for your first attempt, you'd done joggle, which is the other way, isn't it? So John O'Groats to Land's End, and you obviously got almost all the way down. And then for this attempt, you went LEJOG. So I think was a thought behind that you would complete the full route, even if this one wasn't successful, you'd at least like have done the whole route. Was that the idea behind that?
Yeah, a little bit like that, and also because it sounded more exotic, sounds more French, doesn't it, LEJOG?
I mean, when I first saw LEJOG, I thought, LEJOG, oh, it's just some like someone's just gone out for a little bimbo, you know. But then I was looking into it more, and 874 miles in the car. I mean, what is it to run? What was the distance that you recorded when you ran?
I think it's a little bit less than that. I think it's about 830-ish or something miles. Yeah, I think that 874. I don't know where that comes from. I think it's an old one. I think they built some new roads since.
Yeah, probably.
Got that up on the sign, but I think it's a little bit less these days. Yeah,
Yeah,
So
I suppose it does depend like which way you go navigation wise. And in terms of navigation, you obviously plotted the route. Did you take the route from someone else that had done it like before, or did you plan it a new route for you and worked out the fastest way to do it?
I'm really lucky. I really like running, yeah, and I'm really not into all of that planning and stuff around it and the logistics. Some people really like that, but I just it kind of dampens the experience of running for me. So I'm lucky that my coach and that good friend Robbie Britton,
Yeah,
planned the route and everything, and he's very meticulous, and he found little shortcuts down footpaths so we could come off the road. But once you get up into Scotland, and a lot of it, you're just on a dual carriageway, so it's quite. I mean, once you get to Scotland, you hit the A9, and you just run on the A9 for like 3.5 days. So it's not that tricky. You've just got to go the fastest route if you want to set the fastest time. So the majority of it is on dual carriageways. Yeah.
I mean, going back to what you said before about the mental strength, like to run on a dual carriageway and motorways for that period of time, you've got to have some mental strength, haven't you? And that experience that you've had from those ultra runs in the past and those challenges that you've done in the past, that obviously stood you in good stead for this one, didn't it? Because it must have been at times like mind-numbing, you know, and pretty scary, I would imagine as well.
Yeah, a little bit, I suppose, but you just get used to it's like if you live next to a train track, and the train, like the first few days when you live next to this train track, the train wakes you up at night, and then you just get used to it, you know. And it's up to you, I suppose, mentally, like what you want to pick out of where you are, you know. I mean, they're dual carriageways, but they're going through beautiful places, you know, like through the Cairngorm National Park, and you can concentrate on the traffic, or you can look at the mountains covered in that purple heather and the blue sky. So I think it's just up to you what you concentrate on. Yeah, I mean, if I'd spent 9 days concentrating on the traffic, it would have been hideous. But yeah, but there's always something else to look at or to focus on. Yeah.
And was that kind of the highlight when you got to Scotland? You know, these beautiful views. I mean, it's an incredible place to be anyway, isn't it, Scotland? Once you got further north, was that kind of like the carrot, you know, did it keep you going thinking, at least I've got these good views around me? Was that the high?
No,
high
where do you come from, man? Where are you from? You sound like you're up north.
Well, yeah, more northerly than you, but
Yeah.
Scottish would call me southern, but
Yeah.
I'm from Grassington in the Yorkshire Dales, so
Okay. So I
midway.
think England, Wales, Scotland, I get to run through all of them, and they're all beautiful, man. You know, like the start in Cornwall, as you go across Bodmin Moor, and you like into like Wales and like Tintern Abbey, and there's beauty everywhere. You know, we're really lucky. It's like 3 beautiful countries that I got to go through, and Scotland was nice, but no more impressive than the other 3 countries we ran through. You know.
Yeah. I read a quote on one of like the articles that somebody had written about you, and it said, "I'm a shell of a man now. I'm empty, hollow. There's nothing left." I was like, "Whoa, geez!" Like I felt what you'd been through, because I was dot watching all the way, and I was thinking, you know, come on, please do it, because I could almost feel like the effort you were putting in physically and mentally. Like, how's the recovery been since then? Because you must have been pretty smashed at the end.
Yeah, that particular quote, I think, came like I finished, and then I had like 4 hours sleep, and then Dave, who was filming it, like interviewed me, and so I was pretty raw, you know, like yeah. I wasn't feeling great. I mean, if you ask me now about it, and like I don't know, I can't remember being a shell of a man and being. That's what happens over time. You forget the pain, don't you? And you just remember the beautiful bits. So yeah, I mean, I know I have a faint memory of how tough it was on that last day, but now I have more of a memory about how beautiful the scenery was on that last day, and I can remember how blue the sky was, and that how green the fields were, and the Cairngorms behind me. So yeah, it's great how we do that. You forget the pain and just remember the beautiful stuff. So yeah, I'm not a shell of a man.
You filled that show at least since, haven't you? Yeah.
I'm much more of a man from doing it. Yeah.
Because and I mean that resonated with me because I've watched you in interviews before, and I watched you film about when you did the Jordan Trail with Robbie, and you're such a bubbly, lively person. Like, you're so charismatic that when you said that, I thought, my God, like, it's absolutely draining. It put it into perspective for me, like how tough the challenge was. Although I knew that anyway. I've obviously not done it, and I'm not planning on doing it, but it really made me appreciate like the effort physically and mentally that you put into that. It's incredible, real dedication.
Yeah, I think it's just a slow deterioration over the 9 days. You know, you start. It's quite interesting to watch. You know, you just slowly you just strip off every kind of layer you have, and you do just become kind of, I don't know, like almost like nothing, because everything takes energy. You know, like emotions and talking and even like thinking takes energy. So your body's quite good. It shuts all of that down and you just run basically. And then you get to a point like what I remember on that last day when I was just running and I really was completely in the moment, and like, yeah, it was just me and the sky and the fields around. It was quite beautiful, yeah. But you have to, I suppose, you have to go through quite a bit to get to that point, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Some good memories then. So it's not put you off doing anything like this again, then, has it? Like if somebody...
Yeah, like I say, after when I was interviewed that day after, then I probably would have said, "Nah, that's it." But no, like a couple of days afterwards, yeah, you just start thinking, right, what can I do that pushes myself even further, you know, that pushes my limits a little bit more. So, yeah, definitely up for it again, yeah.
Yeah, so if somebody rocks up and takes a record, which it'd be a brave man if they did, like, you wouldn't be out of the question to do it again then. You'd defend it.
It wouldn't be out of the question, yeah. For me, I mean, it's finding there's a lot of people that have to give up a lot of time to help me, isn't there? My crew were amazing, and I think I'd always be up for doing it again, but like having the courage to ask them to give up 2 weeks for me again would probably be the hardest thing. Yeah.
I was chatting to Carla about her female record attempt yesterday, actually, and she was sort of saying like how, you know, amazing her team were, how they helped her. She couldn't have done it without them. Let's talk a bit about support, because you can't do a challenge like this without the support around you, can you? Without that team in place. And you know, talk about Robbie as well. He's your coach, he's your friend, mentor. He was like with you all the way, wasn't he, for this challenge?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because ultra running sometimes is perceived as quite a lonely kind of solitary sport, but I suppose the training side of it is, but when you actually run a race or like attempt some sort of challenge, it's a team effort. It's a massive team effort. And if you haven't got the right team around you, it's really, really tricky to achieve your goals. And I was lucky. Yeah, I had Robbie there, who is one of the best ultra running coaches in the country. So that knows me and knows his stuff as well. You know, I had my partner there who's like with me every race, knows me inside and out and what makes me tick and how to get me going. And then Mick, who's the crew chief of the GB 24-hour team as well. He was there, so vastly experienced. And then I had the previous record holder with me for like 7 of the days, Richard Brown, he's into his 70s now. So wow. I had a good team, yeah, like amazing experience. And yeah, like I say, you just can't do it without them because you're solely reliant on them. And Robbie described it quite a good way. He says that their job is just to enable me to run, and so all I've got to do, I've got the easiest job in that whole 9 days. I just do what I love doing, and I just put one foot in front of the other. But their job is much more complex, you know. They're just doing all sorts of things, and when I go to sleep, they're still up, and when I get up, they're often up already. You know, it's like a massive undertaking for them there, and I'm so grateful of the fact that they're there for me. And Charlotte and Mick have been there, and Richard have been there twice for me as well, you know, the other time I wasn't successful there.
That's amazing. I mean, you mentioned Richard there, and that was going to be my next question. Like, did Richard get involved? Because like I said before, I spoke to Carla, and she said, the previous record holder had got in touch with her and came out to support her for the women's record. And that's amazing that he came out to support you. I know that Carla was out to support you on your attempt as well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
That camaraderie between the runners, that respect, it's amazing, isn't it? It's good to see.
Oh, it's amazing, but that's why we're ultra runners, yeah? I mean, it's just once you start running ultras, you just realise, like, what a beautiful community you're part of, It's, yes, it's competitive in some places, but before that competitiveness, it's all about, love and, like, people helping each other to achieve their personal dreams, And, yeah, Richard, it's weird because, yeah, you're there trying to break his record, but he's just there, like, supporting and helping to finance some of the attempts as well. It's just, yeah, it's wonderful. And actually having him there when things got quite hard in the last sort of 36 hours, and just having him like recount his experience when he was at that point, it really helped, because just to know that, he went through exactly the same as well, but he pulled through. So it was just brilliant having them there. And I hope that I'm able to go and support other people when they attempt the jog or the joggle themselves.
That's amazing. And that was obviously the support of people that you knew. Was there anybody that came out to help that you didn't expect, or like random people that showed you the way or brought things for you, did a bit of support as well? Did you see that in the community as well?
Yeah, man, it's that. I mean, that's what makes that. Like the first time I did it and didn't reach the end, I was still so happy because I'd experienced such like love and just support all the way along, like through the 3 countries, and the same thing happened this time around. It's just that runners will just pop up unexpected, but that always kind of the right energy at the right time, and some will run for like literally 800 yards along a like dual carriageway with you, but then someone else will run for like 50k, 80k with you. It's just, it's brilliant, and their energy really, I don't think they realise that how important they are. You really kind of take use their energy to kind of boost you through the day. It's brilliant, and you meet some lovely people, some like awesome people, And one of the best things this time around was the fact that I saw a lot of the people who'd come out the time before as well. So like I got to see them again and got to like really thank them for the last time. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's beautiful,
And just while we're on that as well, because Martin Bell, I'd seen you'd done an interview with Martin from Scotland, and he said that he used his bath, for a bit of recovery. And I just love that story. Like they carried you into his bath, didn't they, and then carried you back out again after you'd had a bath, and it really made me smile. I think knowing Martin, he'll be selling tickets now for people to come in and look at the bath that Dan Lawson laid in. He'll be loving that.
I think I was dry heaving in his sink, and so I could have had some sick on display. I felt so rude going around somebody's house and like just literally being carried in, put in a bath, then like throwing up in his sink and then leaving, and like just not stopping to kind of chat or to he was fantastic.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, that's the ultra running community, isn't it? There's always someone there to help out.
Definitely, mate. Definitely, it's really good. It's really good to hear. And just to talk about clothing, then, and this brings me on to my next point, because you rerun clothing. I mean, when I first saw the challenge, you weren't actually wearing any clothes. You were topless for most of it because I think the weather was quite hot, wasn't it?
Well, it's scorching though. Yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
But obviously that deteriorated as you went north. But yeah, just talk to us about rerun, because it's a fantastic thing that you're doing. You do loads of charity work. I mean, like, can you just explain what you're trying to achieve with rerun and the kind of things you do?
Yeah, I mean, rerun, we're like a environmental campaigning, it's like community interest company based within the running community. So we just try and encourage runners just to stop and have a think about how, in particular, their clothing choices impact the environment, their kit and their equipment. I mean, our one mission is to save as much textile waste in the running community from landfill as possible. So Yeah, so that takes lots of different avenues. We take unwanted kit from people, like through donations, and we rehome it, I suppose you could call it, like with homeless charities or like refugees, and then we sell a lot of it like secondhand online at like really affordable prices, so people don't have to buy new kit; they can come and buy secondhand kit. And then we just encourage like people to slow down, and that kind of rampant consumerism that we've all been taught that we're supposed to go out and do. You know, I mean, one of the big things we say at Rerun is for people just to ask themselves always before they make any purchase, like, do I really need it? And like, only buy things if you really need them, because everything has a cost, not just money wise, but more importantly, like a cost, environmental cost to the earth. Everything that's manufactured leaves some sort of scar on the earth. So if we can make sure we're only buying things that we really need and not excessively consuming, then the world's going to be a slightly better place. So that's what we encourage with Rerun, basically.
That's a fantastic thing to do, mate. And, you know, if anybody is watching this and wants to get in touch, they can just contact you through the website or through your social media. You're always welcome in donations, aren't you? And I've got things that I want to send down to you as well. So we'll get in touch after this. But thanks for doing that. And thanks for being a big inspiration to the running community as well, because ultimately you're not just a fantastic runner. You are doing some good as well, aren't you? And you're putting so much back in rather than just taking out. So it's really inspiring to see. It really is. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just, it's just little things, isn't it, that we can all do. They do make a little bit of a difference. Yeah.
Definitely. So following on from LEJOG, what's next for you then? You obviously had a bit of time to recover now. You're back running again. Have you got any more challenges lined up?
Yeah, I have to run to stay, not sane, but like, it's kind of like, like it just keeps me in a good place. So like 5 days afterwards, I was back running. So
wow,
a bit more, because I think like that kind of movement and that kind of, I don't know, I just need it like for a calm mind. So I've been back running for quite a while. I'm probably, like you could say, pretty much back like full training now, and I'll do a couple of 50Ks before the end of the year just to try and get my legs moving a little bit quicker again. And then in the new year, depending what's on, let's see, maybe I'll try like a 6, see how close I can get to the world record for a 6-day race, which is just a kind of 1K loop for 6 days. So
wow, amazing. Some exciting things ahead then.
If you call 6 days 1K loop exciting,
it's whatever floats your boat, isn't it? But you know, with this in mind, LEJOG now, you've got the world record. Am I right in thinking you've also got the record for 7 days on the treadmill, 521 miles? I read that on your Wikipedia page, by the way.
No, I think that's been beaten now. Yeah. I think that's been beaten. Yeah.
But you're no stranger to world records, are you? You're somebody who keeps going for it.
Not going to go back to that treadmill one, I tell you. That's
the air roads and the motorways are one thing running on, aren't they? But the treadmill, man, I saw that and I was like, oh my God, 7 days on a treadmill. That is insane. I can kind of get into the head and understand now how somebody can do LEJOG when you've done something like that. You know, that kind of thing really prepares you, doesn't it, for that, you know, that kind of attempt.
Yeah, the treadmill was quite hard because it just wasn't, I don't know, like running's such a natural movement, and I think on a treadmill it's not natural. Do you know what I mean? Your body knows that it's kind of fake. You're not out in nature and you're not moving properly. So it was really hard. Yeah, I think mentally the treadmill was just hard because I couldn't get into that flow state, you know, that kind of running, I don't know, runner's high, that when you kind of drift off, because it was so unnatural. So yeah, the jogger was so much, I don't know about, I mean, towards the end it wasn't as easy, but just mentally I think it was easier than that treadmill. It was just hard work, that treadmill. That screen, constantly looking at that screen.
I can imagine. I can't imagine actually, because 10 minutes on the treadmill for me is enough. But just Outstanding, mate. Listen, I really appreciate you taking the time for this interview, and thanks for chatting to us and inspiring us in every single way, you know, with the run, obviously, and also the charity work that you do. Good luck for all your future challenges, and I'm going to look out for your next one, mate. I like the dot watching, so I'll be keeping a close eye on what you're up to and what you've got planned. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. You too as well. Thank you very much.
Cheers, man.